Hello. All right. So, sorry I'm a little bit late. I had to charge my phone, and before that I was steam cleaning my carpets, which took a lot longer than I thought, and I lost track of time. You know, because dogs, they make my carpet smell. But I'm super excited about the book that I'm reading tonight for a bedtime story. So I have the camera flipped, but I'll read it to you. It says, Ivan, the remarkable true story of the shopping mall gorilla. This book is really, really important to me. So I read a story to my class last year called The One and Only Ivan. It's a chapter book. I totally recommend reading it to your children because it's a 4th or 5th grade level book. If your child is reading in a higher grade level, they can totally read it themselves, but I recommend reading it to your children because it's a great story, but it's a pretty long chapter book, so it would take a while. But this is the much shorter picture book version. So I'm going to give you a background on Ivan. Ivan is, he passed away a couple of years ago, but was a gorilla that lived in a shopping mall. No joke. It was kind of like a circus in a way. So he lived in a shopping mall in a cage, and when it was his turn to come out to the circus arena and do his thing, that's when he was taken out of his cage. A lot of people fought for him to be free, and we're going to read about that story, about how people thought it was really horrible that this big gorilla was stuck in this small cage, and how they thought that he deserved to be outside and be in some sort of a natural habitat. All right, so I'm going to start my story, the one and only, Ivan, but I recommend reading the chapter book, The One and Only Ivan. All right, I'm super excited. This book was written by Katharine Applegate, so that's our author tonight. So there's Ivan. In leafy calm, in gentle arms, a gorilla's life began. So he was with his mom. The baby was born in a tropical forest in Central Africa. He was part of a large family of western lowland gorillas. The troop of gorillas included babies, juveniles, females, and a male leader, the silverback. So they were called silverbacks because if you see, the back of his fur is kind of gray. It looks silver. And the silverback, the male silverback, was the one in charge of the troop. The more the baby gorilla grew, the more he played. The more he played, the more he learned. Gorillas are so smart. He rode on his mother's back. He listened to the hoots and grunts and chest beats of his father. He watched the older gorillas, clever and quick, as they wrestled and chased and swung from vines. So there's Ivan's family. He did not learn about humans until it was too late. Oh no. Poachers with loud guns and cruel hands stole the little gorilla and another baby. So a poacher so that's a vocabulary word that they used. It says it right here. A poacher is a human who goes into the wild and either kills or steals animals from the wild and then sells them. It's really horrible. So here's Ivan and his sister in a crate. After thousands of miles and endless days in a black, damp crate, at last came light and fresh air. The jungle, green with life, was gone. The gorillas had traveled halfway around the world in Tacoma, Washington. That's in the United States. A man who owned a shopping mall had ordered and paid for them. like a couple of pizzas, or like they were a couple of pair of shoes. So they're moving the gorillas in those crates. Do you see that right there? That's no place for a gorilla. People cooed and laughed and held the babies. They dressed them in human clothes and fed them human food. The shopping mall owner ran a Name the Babies contest. The winning names were Burma and Ivan. One dark day, soon after the babies arrived, in their strange new world, Burma died. Without her, Ivan was all alone, with too much left to learn. While he was little, Ivan was cute and cuddly. For 3 years, he lived in a house, like a human child. He slept in a bed and went to baseball games. Oh, that sounds really fun. He held babies and he rode on a motorcycle. There he is. He had to learn many new things. Gorillas in the wild didn't need to know. The one thing Ivan didn't need to learn was how to eat. The more he ate, the more he grew. The more he grew, the less he could live like a human in a human house. He's getting bigger. A cage in the mall became Ivan's new home. There wasn't much to do. Sometimes Ivan watched TV. Sometimes he played with an old tire. Sometimes he finger painted, signing the papers with his thumbprint. Mostly, he watched the humans who were watching him. Ivan was about 13 when his coat began to shimmer with silvery white hairs. He'd grown into a silverback gorilla. In the jungle, he would have been ready to protect his family. But he had no family here to protect. I want to stop and think, and I want to ask you a question. Do you think it's fair that Ivan the gorilla is stuck in this shopping mall, in this cage where all the humans just get to watch him? If you're watching this with someone, I want you to tell them, do you think it's fair? And then tell them why. I'll tell you what I think. I don't think it's fair because he doesn't have anywhere else to go. I think this is different than the zoo because at the zoo, the gorillas, the animals, yeah, we can see them, but they have a lot of space. They have a lot of land to run around and you know, do things there. But here in the shopping mall that Ivan is in, he's not outside. He can't see the sunlight at all. And I think that's really sad. I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like to be stuck in a cage. Year after year passed. People began to grow angry about Ivan's lonely life. Children and adults wrote letters. They signed petitions and they held protests. Oh, good. That means that people were upset that Ivan was living in this cage all alone. And they decided to say, hey, we don't think this is right. So they wrote letters and they did things that like stood outside with signs that said like, let Ivan go, stuff like that. Ivan lived in his cage without the company of any other gorillas for 27 years before he was sent on another journey. This time, the hands were very gentle. The zoo in Atlanta wasn't a jungle. It was a place with walls. Still, the breeze carried jungle sounds and scents. Scientists who understood the needs of gorillas helped Ivan adjust slowly, carefully, and gently to his new life at the Atlanta Zoo. Finally, it was time. Was Ivan ready? Cameras clicked. Reporters watched. Ivan was going to see the grass and the sunlight for the first time in 27 years. I hope he's ready. He's ready. When Ivan stepped onto the cool green grass, the sunlight gleaming on his silver hair, people cheered and laughed and wept with joy. Ivan, the shopping mall gorilla, was in a place with trees and grass and with other gorillas at last. And you can still see that people get to see him. But what do you notice that's different here than the other page where people were watching? I want you to tell someone. What's different about the zoo? Okay, I'll tell you what I think is different. I think what's different is that, he has grass, he has sunlight, he has different things to make him happy. This time it's not all about humans, it's also about Ivan. In leafy calm, in gentle arms, a gorilla's life began again. This is a real picture of Ivan at the Atlanta Zoo. All right. So I'm going to read a little bit about Ivan in the back. I'm going to skip through. All right. The facts of Ivan's early life are not well recorded. As far as we know, Ivan was born in 1962 in the Congo. He was about 6 months old when he was caught by poachers. They came illegally to capture him and sell him. There was little for Ivan to do with his days at the shopping mall. Although he did seem to really enjoy finger painting, that is true. He often did watch television. During the 27 years Ivan lived in his cage, people became more aware of how animals should be treated. In 1990, that's when people really began to stand up for Ivan. As frustration with Ivan's situation grew, many people boycotted the shopping mall. That means they stopped going there. And one 11-year-old fifth grade girl, an 11-year-old, gathered 1,500 signatures on her Free Ivan petition. She was the one who started it. An 11-year-old. You could do something like this if you chose. And then that is when he was able to go to the Atlanta Zoo. Ivan died in 2012 at the age of 50. He was the oldest gorilla living in captivity at the time. The zoo in Atlanta had a memorial service for him, which means that while he did have 27 years stuck in a cage, if he died at 50, that means he had 23 years of happiness at the zoo. So it doesn't make up for it, but it does make me feel pretty good about Ivan. If you would like to learn more about Ivan, you can go to the Atlanta Zoo's website, and they have a video about Ivan. They have videos of Ivan, and they can tell you more about Ivan's story. And like I told you in the beginning, if you want to read another book about Ivan, it's called The One and Only Ivan, and it's a big chapter book. All right, I hope you enjoyed this story because I really love Ivan, and I hope that you can look him up and learn a lot of facts about him because this is a true story. And like I said, you can look it up at the Atlanta Zoo webpage. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll look it up and I'll post the link in the comments under this video when I post it. All right, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you come in tomorrow, or not come in. We're on a Facebook. Make sure you tune in tomorrow because we have a whole list of teachers who are posting videos. We're going to have, if I remember correctly, math with Miss Bucko in the morning. We're going to have some phonics with Miss Trendler. We're going to have Miss Romero's going to do a Spanish read aloud. I know Miss Lubis is doing a painting lesson with a book. Who else? I know Miss Baker is going to post a social skills. Miss Nighty is going to be on there. I can't remember if she's doing writing tomorrow, but I think she is. I know she's watching, so Miss Nighty, if you could let me know if you're doing writing tomorrow, I'll confirm that. And I am going to do tomorrow's bedtime story. All right. It was wonderful to have you here tonight, and please keep tuning in. Please keep sharing so that many more children can have some school enrichment. Thank you.